Okay, to begin the second segment, I'm going to go back to the Gesenius, and I want you to listen to what his notes were on this word. Now, there is no J sound in Hebrew, okay? So the idea that this name here is correctly pronounced Jehovah is not correct. The Yah sound is actually, the yeah is actually what we're about. But we'll get to that here in a minute. Let me read to you what Gesenius says about whether or not you can pronounce the name of God. This is what he says. This is the name of the supreme God amongst the Hebrews. The later Hebrews, for some centuries before the time of Christ, either misled by a false interpretation of certain laws, or else following some old superstition, regarded this name as so very holy that it might not even be pronounced. So what he's saying is that that's an incorrect idea, okay? So we can talk about it, and under certain circumstances you're supposed to. So that comes out of the Gesenius again, under what's referred to as the Tetragrammaton, or the four-letter name of God. So where I'm going to go with this to begin with is this. This is getting back to David Koresh, to the Davidic king, to the return of one like Cyrus of Persia. This is in Matthew 24:22, and it says, you see all the things that are going on right now. The New World Order really does want to destroy humanity. It wants to transcend our human existence and go in and combine with computers and mechanical things and all of that to become gods. Interesting that God doesn't think that's a good idea. Let's read Matthew 24:22. Quote, "And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved." Wow. It's so bad now. A lot of people wonder what the abomination of desolation is, if that's spoken of by Daniel the prophet. And I'm not going to go into that here because it really draws in a lot of things. But one of the points about that is that the abomination of desolation is to stop, to interfere with the procreation that God has given us. Okay? I'm not saying that male-female relationships are solely for procreation. I don't believe that. The Genesis doesn't say that. It was for companionship. Okay? That was the reason. But the fruit of that good companionship is offspring, and that's considered a blessing, and so forth. But at any rate, I wanted to read that to you because this is what we are about. This is not just the name of God. This is his system. This is what he is giving to us as an inheritance. Kind of strange, huh? Okay, let's break it down a little bit so that you'll know where we're coming from. I'm not going to, like I said, this word is so pregnant with so many different meanings, and it's almost infinite. Using the proper Hekalot techniques, you can actually expand this word, as you can many Hebrew words, almost ad infinitum, almost to infinity. What's important about this word, though, is this, that there are several names of God in it. The first is this one here, which is just, a lot of you will have heard it as being Yah. Okay, and we're going to talk about that and how Satan counterfeited this and inversed it for himself. And you'll see that too. There's another name here. This is actually a name of God all on its own too. This one right here. And its variant, which is this one here. Okay? And basically, that's still the name of God. This Yod here plays a very important part in direction and some other things. I mentioned here a few minutes ago that Satan counterfeits everything that God does. He inverts it. He alters it. And I heard Alex Jones one day say that Satan, reversed God's name for himself. And he can't do it with this. That's an impossibility. That's a palindrome. Do you know what that means? It means it's the same backwards and forwards. You wouldn't think so because of the Yod that's here. But even if the Yod were put at the end of the sentence, it would still, or the end of the word, it would still basically mean the same thing. So this gives direction and a further meaning of this. And I could go into the Ayah, Asher, Ayah, which is I will be whom I will be, or I am that I am, as most of you know. which takes this word right here in the lower left-hand corner of your screen and adds what's called an aleph to it. And that's not a very good rendition of an aleph, but it'll at least give you the idea of what we're talking about here. So these are all different names of God, and we could do other things with it, but this is where we're going to be today. So the name of Yah, and then these other different names. Now, a lot of people say, what are you doing here? Well, I want you to think about back in Genesis, okay? Adam, by the way, Adam, is written basically like this. It's an aleph, and that's a very bad rendition of that. A thing called a dalet, and then what's called a mem, okay? That's Adam. I'm going to give you a little secret about this, and you're going to go, whoa. Aleph is the symbol for God. Dalet is a door. Mem is a symbol of water, a water kingdom. So I'll leave you with that. I won't take that any further, but that's a very interesting concept about where the name Adam comes from. Symbol of God, through a door into a water. In the New Testament, Adam is called a son of God. Just another interesting piece of information. Okay, I've erased all that other information there because I don't want to get you too confused. Let's go back to this for a minute. As I mentioned, there are different things you can do with Hebrew. The ancient prophets would sometimes change letters and words, and they weren't misspellings. They were doing that on purpose to give a higher meaning or a different meaning than what would normally be associated with it. You might remember in Genesis it said that God took took a rib out of Adam and created a woman for Adam and brought him to him. Because why? God said, let us make man in our image. Did that, and then said, well, it's not good for man to be alone. We'll create a helpmeet, another word for companion, for him. Companion. That was the major purpose of this. And then they were told they could multiply and replenish the earth, be fruitful, have children. Well, how was Eve created? It's in the Word. It's in the Word right here. And I'm going to show it to you. And a lot of people, again, especially the Orthodox Hebrews, the rabbis are going to go nuts for me doing it. But gentlemen, it's time. It's time to know the secrets of God, because we are being slaughtered by those who do not understand this, saying that mankind is evil, saying that our children are evil, aborting them, passing through the fire of Molech at Bohemian Grove. I'm not saying they actually do that there, but the symbolism is there, although they might actually do it there and in other places. So it's time that these things be revealed to show who we are, that we're not evolved from apes or pigs or anything else. Okay? It says that God took a rib from Adam. Okay? Where does the name Eve come from, and what does it mean? Well, we'll talk about that. You see this yod right here? It's the symbol of a male. In the name God, that's just Yah, you have two symbols there. Let us make man in our image. Yod, Hey. Hey is a feminine thing. It's a representation of female. Yod is a representation of a male. So you have the representation in the name of God of a male and a female, and it's not different aspects of our characters. We have feminine and masculine characteristics like the New Agers will tell you, or I'm not saying that isn't true, but that's not what this is about. Okay, this is about that image of the male and the female. It's there. So anyway, what happens here, hope you can hear me when I turn around. What happens here is that God takes a rib from Adam and he creates Eve. You see this yod right here? Kind of looks like a rib, doesn't it? The woman has a womb. Okay? That's why there's a space in here. Okay? That's another name of God. Oh, that's interesting. But the woman has a space there. It's not closed up. Guess where that yod goes? Right in there. It closes it up. Now we have not Hey, Yod, Hey. We have Chet, Yod, Hey. Which means what? Eve. It's really that simple. It really, really is. And there's more to this than I'm even showing you here. And I want Donald Trump, if he watches these things, to understand that he's okay. The few mistakes he's made in his, and I'm not saying these recent, leaks have anything to do with him. No, he's a man who likes a woman and respects her. Okay, he doesn't do all this nasty stuff that they're trying to accuse him of, which they themselves do. But there's another secret here, and a lot of people want to know, why I got involved in plural marriage back a long time ago. I'm not involved in it anymore for lots of reasons. But at any rate, it's not an evil thing. The Muslims do it, but they don't really know why. They just think it's a man's right. That's not the way the Hebrews looked at it. It was a joy. It was a privilege. It was a great thing. And some of the great heroes of the Old Testament, a lot of Christians. You go to a hotel, right, and you see a Gideon Bible in there. Guess who Gideon was? Look it up. He had quite a few wives. Now, his kids didn't turn out too well, but it wasn't the fault of the marriage situation. That's in here. It really is. Remember I told you have a male and a female in the name of God, Yah. A vav, wow is another way of saying it, the wow sound, means a connector. It's like a nail. It actually means a nail. But the idea is that it's a contract. It's a connector. It's a covenant. So we're going to take this unit of a male and female, and we're going to connect through covenant, through contract, another female. Oh, I can hear the kicking and screaming right now. Guys, it's in the language. Guys and ladies, it's in the language. Okay? There are righteous ways to do things, and there are unrighteous ways to do things. And at this point, unless Donald Trump had an affair with a married woman, oh boy, I'm going to hear a lot about this. Oh, that's, feminists are going to be all upset, about rights or whatever. We're talking about biblical law. As long as he didn't touch a married woman, he's fine. It depends on what he did afterwards. An old army saying is, shit happens. It's what you do afterwards that counts, or what you do next that counts. So I think I'll stop there on the Yod-Heh Vav-Heh for now, because I've probably given you way too much to look at that point. But I want you to look at this name of God here, this part right here again, Yod-Heh, because we're gonna talk about that again. Yod-Heh. We're going to talk about that in relation to what Lucifer does to reverse that, because as you can see, that is reversible. Okay, that is something that you can turn around. This, it wouldn't matter. It's a palindrome. He can't corrupt